Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time once again for XRL X3 to get underway. I'm your host for today's race, Insane Leader 13, and it's been 2 weeks, but I'm finally being joined by XRL Torpedo. We've been apart from the booth for a while. Don't worry, we made sure that your seat didn't get too dusty. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm hoping we'll see some good action today in X3 at Belgium. Should be a good one.
Real quickly, going through the lineup of the drivers who are going to be participating in today's race. In the Williams team, we've got Mufasa 1869 and XXX Books XXX. While on the Haas F1 team, you have Tassani 10 and Skinny Fishbone. Alfa Romeo is being represented by Prudish Metal 74 and Boothie 116. In the Tracing Point team, it is going to be Schold and Constant Jet 1141. In the AlphaTauri team, we are going to be looking at drives from XRL Gusty and Collie Boy today. While on the Renault team, it's going to be XRL Whippy and Higsby 97. The McLaren team is being represented by Dave Ewart 23 and Retro Rixie, while on the Aston Martin team is XRL Fiend and XRL Dino. In the Scuderia Ferrari camp, it's Mr. Anderson 1872 and XRL Ozda, and in the Mercedes F1 team, it is Regulkin. As your lineup for today's race, there might be one more driver who will try and show up for the Mercedes team before we get too far into it, but either way, it's Spa, one of the most legendary circuits in the entirety of motorsports history. Honestly, in my opinion, one of my favorite circuits in the world, only topped by a very, very few number of tracks. I am so excited to be here. Yesterday, you were one of the drivers who participated in the XRL race. Go ahead, from your perspective, what helps get you a good drive here today at Spa?
Basically, just stay out of trouble because it's very easy to lose the back end, especially on the exit of Radion and other places around the track. And basically, just on good tire strategy, you need to have that. And qualifying takes a huge part in that for the race.
Makes an absolutely outstanding point there. Yesterday, we saw that the dominant tire strategy was to go from medium to hards in the realistic race event. However, the big thing with that is that is a full 100% length race. The car abilities actually are supposed to match what they have in real life. In the X1, X2, X3, that's not the case. 50% long races. So what should we be looking at tire strategy in that scenario?
Well, it's easy. You could do like a one-stop around here, like soft, mediums, medium, softs, or medium or soft hards. But there's a decent variety of strategies. But it also depends on as well, like with some like the midfield drivers, like they're gonna get caught up in incidents as well, like so that they could force them to make an early pit stop than they're planning.
Alright, so the undercut and overcuts will be very, very important here as we prepare to load onto the circuit. 19 drivers lined up for today's event, so we should see 4 of them not advance into Q2. Yesterday, qualifying was extremely chaotic in the realistic racing event. We saw 4 different drivers crash out completely in Q1 and Q2 alone. Hopefully, we won't have that same issue today. Real quickly, as we get underway here, Torpedo, would you like to go ahead and run us through the current point standings for the series?
Yes, in the Drivers' Championship, Whippy's on top with 169 points, and in second is XRL Asda with 102 points in the Ferrari. In third is Dino with 72, and in fourth is Retro Rixie on 70. Then a gap is for fifth is Schold with 43. Sixth is Mufasa with 35. Tisani is in 7th with 32, tied with Mr. Anderson. Books is on 29 points in 9th. Prudish Metal in 10th, also with 29 points. Boofy's in 11th with 24 points. Gusty's in 12th with 15 points. 13th is Cowboy with 3 points. 14th is Dave Ebart with 3. 15th is Fradders, also with 3 points. Constant Jets on 2 points in 16th, and Fiends on 1 in 17th. Constructors, Renault is in top with 186 points. McLaren is in second with 150. Third is Ferrari with 135. Fourth is Haas with 102 points. Fifth is Alfa Romeo with 98 points. Fifth is Red Bull. Sixth is Red Bull with 89 points. Seventh is Racing Point with 84 points. Eighth is Williams with 64 points. Ninth is Mercedes with 43 points. And 10th is AlphaTauri with 14.
Alright, don't hold the stuttering against him. I was looking at the data sheets itself, and the quality is very low. It looks like we're looking at a 144p video from YouTube back in the 2006. The quality of the sheets were that low. Hopefully they can get that adjusted for after the results of today's event. Anyways, first car on track today is Ozda. Ozda really embodying the ideal of being one of the first drivers out on track, gives you the best chance on the circuit. He is being joined already on the circuit, however, by Collie Boy in the AlphaTauri, as we see the AlphaTauri running down the long back straightaway, as is the Haas of Tassani 10. And already a chunk of cars are all filtering their way out of pit lane right now. So one really big advantage to Spa-Francorchamps when it comes to qualifying. This track is so large, nearly 7 kilometers. What's up?
Oh, Dave's putting in the stream chat. It's going to be a wet race, I think. So, that's going to be,
That could be very interesting. Rain has played havoc and has actually been one of the reasons why the championship battle has devolved into such a massive lead for Whippy. Rain has been absolute havoc for a lot of the field. So if Rain ends up falling in the race, it could make things very interesting. Not only that, it could also really change the tire strategy as well. But as I was going to say, one of the advantages of running here at Spa, and we have had an incident, Collie Boy has gone off circuit there early on in Sector 3. Now, I don't see any damage to that car, but it looks like it just went straight off right before that 90-degree corner. And again, it doesn't look like there's any serious damage on that machine. He should be able to keep going without too much of an issue. So, as I was trying to say, this is my third time, maybe third time's the charm. One of the advantages of qualifying at Spa, because this is such a large track, is that it's very rare that you're going to have your lap times upset and screwed over by slower traffic. There is more than enough room here on the circuit to get clean air by yourself and not be negatively affected or positively affected and get penalized for it in the qualifying sessions 1, and especially in qualifying session 2 or 3. It will happen every now and again close to the end of the session if everyone's trying to get out at the exact same time, but it's not nearly as bad as most of the other circuits on the schedule. Oh, and Collie Boy immediately invalidates the lap he was in the middle of. Right now, watching Higsby as he is going through. Oh, and that is Gusty, and Gusty has now had a spin in the other AlphaTauri, and he's had it at the top of the Alruz Rodillion complex. But same thing as his teammate, no damage, he will be able to continue. The only downside is that was in the middle of a flying lap for him.
So it's going to be...
Retro! Yeah, go ahead.
It's going to be a light rain for the race, so that's going to be interesting.
Retro Ixie, right as he was beginning to do his run for his flying lap, he got really sideways there, putting the power down. And Collie Boy, another incident, so the AlphaTauri seem to be having a lot of incidents today. 3 within a span of about 3 minutes here. That is not looking good whatsoever. And that's not the only one. Ozda has pulled over on the back straightaway, although I think that might be because he's on a cooldown lap and just trying to give other drivers clean space. Meanwhile, XRL Dino is in the middle of an outlap, and Boothie has just gone out! Boothie has just taken himself out. It's the same corner he had 2 accidents in the XRL race yesterday, and now he is already out in this session today.
Just put that. Ooh. So that's one last driver for them to worry. That is definitely going out.
Well, now as we're looking at the top of the timesheets. Right now, Mufasa is leading with a 143.348. And then behind him is Purish Metal, 144.229. Fiend has a 144.599. Ryukin, 144.961. And now Higsby will go up to third, 144.497.
Retro second, 143.382. So the faster seems to have a bit of pace right this track. You might be wanting that to watch out for heading into this one.
The one I'm really going to want to keep an eye on is this man right here, XRL Whippy. I'm actually going to go silent and right on board with him for a lap to see what our current points leader can do here at Spa-Francorchamps. Oh, wait, no, actually take that back. Boothie is just joined the party. Boothie, go ahead and include your audio. 3 accidents in 2 days. What happened at the top of the hill today?
Over the top of there, and it was like, nope.
Do you think he'll be able to come back from it in the race itself, though?
If it was gonna rain, yeah, got my wet stuff on. So hopefully it rains heavily.
Alright, so a little bit of hope looking forward. Hopefully we'll see you with a much better result in the race itself, Boothie.
It can't go much worse unless I don't make it out of turn 1. Yeah.
Anyways, now as we turn our focus back onto the race circuit here, everyone is either in the middle of a lap or has set a lap or is trying to set up for a lap, with the exception of XRL Dino and Davey Wart. Neither of them have left the pits yet. Mr. Anderson jumps to third on the timesheets with a 143.504 now.
As is now coming down the line on his lap. 1 minute 43.246 sends him to the top of the timesheets.
Very heavily needed if Ozda wants to have any shot at the title remaining. He needs Whippy to have a lot of misfortune, and Ozda needs to start picking off wins as if it was going out of style. Right to the top. Those are the top 2 drivers we've had all season long, pretty much. And now they're at the top 2 on the sheets right now. Collie Boy is now beginning his flying lap. And already, we have 14 of our 19 drivers have set lap times. Dino, Dave Ewart, Sonny, and Collie Boy all have yet to set times. And the latter of those 2 are in the middle of laps right now. Dino is now on the way out into the circuit to begin an outlap, as is Ryukin and XRL Gusty. Now, Gusty has set a lap time of 203.216, but that came with him spinning at the top of the Al Rouge Rodillion Complex. That is why his lap time is so significantly slower than everyone else. Assuming he can avoid incidents, he should be able to set a properly fast lap time without issue this time around.
As it's spun, he's having to wait for cars to come in and this and stationary, and I don't see any serious damage on that Ferrari. Something I have noticed about Ozda is that he really consolidates all his skill, all of his talent right into one really aggressive flying lap, and then typically bends at the lap afterwards, especially on these larger wide open circuits. So you can't say he's not pushing. Yeah.
Collie Boy is going to go by the slow car of Ozda right now, as he is going to try and be the 16th driver to set a lap time in the session. Right now, Gusty is on the bubble, but we anticipate that time will adjust for him very shortly. Here comes the AlphaTauri. Actually, the AlphaTauri has invalidated the lap he was in the middle of, so he's going to have to go again. That's gotta be rough, especially considering that a lap here is about 1 minute and 3/4. It's not like, you know, Monaco or Zandvoort or something where laps here will fly by real quickly. You spend quite a bit of time on this circuit.
It's like a long circuit, so really, you spend quite a long. And tire wear as well. It depends. Tire wear is different right here because your tires could be done, like almost done if you're doing a whole lap. Run this track, you're like really pushing at it. So, but we'll see what's gonna happen with these drivers. Like,
Gonna go silent for a lap and right on board with Dave Ewart as he tries to set his flying lap here in Q1. Well, that's a full lap on board with Dave Ewart, and his time of 144.430 is good enough to set him 12th. But while we were right on board with him, XRL Dino in the Red Bull went ahead and set his machine on the top of the timesheets, 143.196.
like the gap as well between the top three is quite good. It's quite close. So like it's going to be a tight, contested battle probably for pole.
Right now, we're having a really fantastic battle going on for making it into Q2. XRL Fiend and the other Red Bull is the driver on the bubble right now as he has just come out into the circuit to begin a flyer lap. Constant Jet, Reagan, and Collie Boy are all on the outside looking in, and they are all in the middle of laps right now. Although I think Reagan might be in a cooldown lap right now, and Collie Boy is just riding into the pits. But Constant Jet is out there and is in the middle of a lap trying to see if he can bump his way back into the top 15. Also, I just want to say good job to Gussie. He was finally able to get everything together, set a lap time of 144.126. That was good enough to get him up into the 10th position. So right now, he is on the inside of the top 15 and should be able to advance into Q2. Right now, the gap between 15th and 16th is just about 3.5 not 3.5 seconds, I'm sorry about that. 35 hundredths of a second. Constant Jet was up by about 8 hundredths at the end of Sector 1. Sector 2 is where you're probably going to gain the most time around here. He's up by a little bit more than a quarter, but he needs to get a little bit more if he wants to beat Fiend's time thus far. Fiend pulls over on the circuit to give Constant Jet more room.
Oh, big slide there. That might cost him a bit of time.
It most definitely did. He's still behind Fiend in terms of lap time, and that's also not going to help with the tire wear on the rear tires in that thing. Now it's Fiend's turn as he is out on his flyer lap trying to solidify his spot in the top 15. Dasani has retired from the session, but he has been gradually pushed down. He is now at 14th on the timesheets right now, and there could be enough time that Dasani could still get knocked out. Ryukin's in the middle of a great lap right now as he's coming through the final corners. If he doesn't slide the tires, he might be able to jump Constant Jet. Boy, did he. Right up to 12th, 144.266. So now Fiend is on the outside, and Tasani, who's already retired from the session, is on the bubble. Fratters is in pit lane, so Fratters and the other Mercedes has finally joined us, but with only 2 minutes and 9 seconds left, I don't think he's going to have enough time to get a serious lap in.
Yeah. I think he'll probably hit that glitch as well, like when you're late in the session, it'll put you in the back of the grid anyway, so but I think he's just going out just to get that start loaded in. Fiend is on the lap right now and he's up by 3 tenths, so this could lock out Tisani at the moment.
Constant Jet's behind Fiend on the circuit, but he has invalidated the lap that he is currently in the middle of. Collie Boy is also on an out lap. He is also on the outside looking in. Fuel is just about empty in that Red Bull as he comes to the line. Very nearly invalidated the lap in the final corner there. 10th, 143.968. So Tasani has now been knocked out, and Dave Ewart is 15th, and he's still in pit lane with only 1 minute and 12 seconds left. He has no chance of improving, so he needs to hope and pray that something works out. Constant Jet's retired into the pit, so he knows there's no way for him to get in there. So now the question is Collie Boy, and to a lesser extent, Fratters.
Collie Boy's down on his time. Yeah. Fratters, I think Fratters might make it in time. But it's going to be a tight one. Collie Boy needs to really improve in this second sector, and the third one, to be honest, if he wants to go through.
Fratter's last minute addition to qualifying has missed almost everything, but I think he's going to make it. We're at 28 seconds, and he's now going through the final chicane. So assuming he doesn't completely spin out here, he will have enough time to set one flyer lap.
Regan's run out of fuel, so he's slowed. On the final sector, Collie Boy should be fine in this one, but he's down. He's still down on his time, so this final sector needs to improve dramatically. Checker flag is out.
Needs to be up by roughly 0.6 of a second compared to his prior lap time if he wants to make it in.
Boss fine, no, he doesn't improve.
No.
Just
a full second off of where he needs to be.
Fiend in the pits, so it's just now Fratters who are waiting on to get it to set his lap time.
Fratter's teammate Ryukin has made it in. He is 13th right now. The driver who is most concerned is going to be Dave Ewart. He is on the bubble. 144.430 is the time that Fratters needs to beat if he wants to jump into Q2.
Through final sector, bit wide.
The fuel warning is flashing, but he doesn't really have to worry. As long as he can just lay hard on the ERS on the straight, he will be able to set a lap, but will it be enough? I don't think so. Yeah, 145.016, not even close to being enough. Just no time to improve. It's good enough for a time of 18th, but it won't even remotely bring him close to the top 15 in the end. So real quickly, run us down the drivers who did and didn't make it into the session.
Right, we'll go through who made top all the way. Then Dino top the time sheets in first. Second is Whipping. Third is Asda. Fourth is Mufasta. But Trixie in fifth. Skiff in sixth. Mr. is 7th. Books is in 8th. Polish Medal 9th, Fiend 10th, Hegsy 11th, Destiny 12th, Regan 13th, Shold 14th, Dave Ewart in 15th, Tisani Jet, Friars, Collyboy, and Boofy all out in Q1.
Boothie, another ensign at the top of the hill, but he seems to be looking forward. He has a wet setup prepared for this race, and we are anticipating that the race will be infected by rain to some extent. Now, how heavy that rain's going to be, how long that rain's going to be, we don't know, but if so, we could see some interesting runs from the back from Boothie today.
Yeah, oh, well...
Now we begin to...
Yeah, hopefully Boothie can recover his race and get some points at least.
So now the question is going to be, who's going to be the first driver out on track in session 2? Also, everyone is going to be deciding what tire compound they're going to start the race on. Right now, it seems like only Gusty and Skinny Fishbone have mediums equipped. Everyone else currently has softs on the car. So again, if the race starts under wet conditions, tire selection won't actually mean anything. You might as well go ahead with the best lap, with the faster tires. We don't have any guarantee. Now, everyone is on the softs except for Skinny Fishbone. So, yeah, these drivers must really be banking on the race either starting wet or going wet very quickly. The first driver who is out on circuit in this session is Mufasa 1869, one of the faster drivers throughout qualifying over the last several weeks. Has really been bringing that Williams to good starting positions. Not always able to make that work out in the race itself, but at least in qualifying he has definitely shown some impressive ability.
Yeah, he's doing really well. He's doing really well, and I think he just needs to keep being consistent the whole time. It could lead to some things.
Alright, so almost everyone, with the exception of 5 drivers, are out on track right now, including the 2 drivers with medium tires equipped, Books and Skinny Fishbone. So again, this will be very interesting. I'll be interested to see if Books or Skinny Fishbone can even come close to keeping up with the pace of the drivers on the soft tire compounds. As Mufasa now begins his flyer lap. Retro Rixie, earlier in the season, he was considered a championship title contender, but, you know, if you think Oz's had a few bad races, Retro has had nothing but bad luck to take away any chance of him going for the title. Now, he is keeping McLaren somewhat relevant in the Constructors' Championship, but when it comes to Drivers' Championship, he has become the most outside of outside threats right now. So Retro at this point is just in it for himself. He doesn't have to worry about racing for points. He really just needs to worry about bringing home good results for himself at this stage of the season.
Oh, Dino. It's
now
just
Red Bull very slow there in Sector 3, but I didn't catch what was up.
Yeah. Weird on the fact that 2 drivers are on the mediums. So everyone's just trying to get that one, just wanted to go start on the softs. It is doable though, doing a 1-stop, but it is like you can go longer if you're starting on the mediums.
Sorry about that. So, right now, everyone is in the middle of a flyer lap, and I anticipate we should see Mufasa set his lap time right about now at the line. The time to beat for everyone is going to be 1:43.053. And again, my real interest is going to be what can Skinny Fishbone and XXX Books XXX do with those slower, harder compound tires.
Mufasa 1 minute 43.053, and then Asda 1 minute 43.052. So Oh, that is...
Jumps to the tops by the narrowest of margins. Skinny Fishbone on the medium set a time of 143.703, and then Retroxy has set a time of 143.701. Books has invalidated the lap he is in the middle of, though.
Gusty won at 44.064, yellow flag, and that is Higgsy. Just go slowly.
In the middle of an outlap right now, trying to probably get as much clean track around him as possible. Oh, and that's, I think, Ozda. Ozda may have had an instant. Yeah, Ozda, once again, just like he did in Session 1, he does the same thing in Session 2, puts down a monster lap, and immediately has an instant. Now we see he's missing part of that front wing of the car, but I imagine with a 143.052, that should be good enough to keep him in the top 10. But you kid, the one Mercedes that did make it into Q2 is currently in the middle of the lap right now, coming to that high-speed full throttle bend in Sector 3. Oh, and Retroxy has spun out in Sector 2. Now, he was on a cooldown lap, but he has also gone around, so it seems like a lot of drivers are doing the Ozda thing, just laying everything into it.
Yeah. Oh, Whippy's gone out. He's on an out lap on the softs. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do. We'll see if he can make it to 1 minute 42s. Obviously, Dino's the first WOT driver in this session to do it.
Dave Ewart's in the pits right now. Higsby is in the middle of a flyer lap, as is Books. One advantage that Books has, he may have invalidated that first lap, but as long as he has fuel, those medium tires will hold on a little bit longer than the softs. He can be a little bit more aggressive and pushing with them over longer periods of time.
Yeah, and I think also you could, like, early safety cars as well could happen in the race, and that could allow drivers to make a free pit stop basically onto like a set of hards or set of mediums. Like many things can happen in this these kind of races.
One thing that I find very interesting, compared to Q1, right now we're seeing a massive spread in times of Q2. Q1, everyone was within about 3 seconds or so of each other, it seemed. Right now, it's a range of about 3.5, if not more seconds between 1st and 12th. And Books goes up to 6th on the medium tire compounds.
Regan just had a spot spin causing yellow flags, but he's got to go and not had too much significant damage of what I'm seeing, so it's fine for him. And
Whippy is now beginning his flyer lap.
Gusty's had a spin at P1. No damage.
Well, from the tire marks, it looks like he barely kept it off the tire wall as well, so good job keeping that car alive and in one piece.
Yeah. Those tires have probably dealt with significant damage. He is in 9th, so he is close on the bubble. He will be on the bubble after Whippy sits his lap.
Purple Sector 1 for Whippy, and also Dave Ewart is in the middle of a flyer lap right now. Higsby made an attempt earlier, but came into the pits, and he is still in the pit lane right now. Dino had the fastest time at the end of qualifying Session 1, with Whippy second fastest and Oz the third fastest. Right now, we might be looking at a similar scenario. Dave Ewart has had a crash!
Oh, it's up the hill. He's just lost the back end into the wall.
And that was on what was his flyer lap, and it looks like under pressure he was not able to perform. That is not going to help the McLaren team. Retroxy is now going to be carrying that entire team on his back today. Well, at the start of the race at least. Real quickly, I'm going to try and reach out and get in contact with Dave Ewart and see what happens. Same area on the track that Boothie has had his accident. We've seen so many incidents this weekend at the Al Rouge Rodillion complex.
Here comes Whippy crossing the line. 1 minute 43.3 puts him 4th. It's a bit strange how Alice has decided to do it again, but maybe he's just thinking maybe he can get him up the one spot. top of the timesheets.
All right, join the party with us is the McLaren driver, Dave Ewart. Dave, go ahead, include your audio. What happened that took you out of qualifying session 2?
Just went a bit too wide into the chicane, and just went wide and just lost the back end. That was all she wrote.
Do you think you'll be able to recover from this in the race?
Hopefully, I seem to do better in wet races and dry races, so hopefully I'll stay clean, get a few crashes and be able to gain some positions for other people's mistakes.
All right, well, thank you very much for sharing what happened. Shame to see you get taken out in your flyer lap.
Yeah.
All right, so now we know one of the drivers who regrettably will not advance into qualifying session 3. Higsby is in the middle of an outlap right now, is about to set a flyer one. And I think everyone seems to be really, really confident that either the race is going to start wet or rain will come very early in the session. That is why just about everyone has equipped soft tire compounds. With the exception of Ryukin, he is 13th right now and on an outlap, but he has equipped the medium tires, so he's definitely trying to make an alternate strategy work, but if the pace isn't there, it's really not going to do anything for him.
Yeah, he will get back if he does get knocked out.
Ozda's had an incident.
He's invalidated his lap as well, and he's been damaged his right end plate. I think it is on that same softs that he's used earlier, so it wouldn't be too significant. But was it that ones that he used that to do that lap on?
Right now, Higsby is the interesting part. At the moment, XRL Gusty is the driver on the bubble with a 144.064, and the gap between Skinny Fishbone and Gusty is about 0.35 seconds right now. So Skinny Fishbone probably a little bit more secure in his spot right now. I think it's a real shootout just for that 10th position only right now.
Yep. Regan's coming through pool. Just in that lap.
Schold has just kicked Gusty out, so now Schold is up into 10th, but he's still the better part of a quarter second away from Skinny Fishbone right now. Here comes Higsby. He's going to be the big wild card in this all.
Regan's half a second up in the second sector on mediums. It might not get him, might not make him get him into the top 10, but it is he's showing pace on mediums.
Higsby jumps into 10th now. And here comes Ryukin. If Ryukin has enough fuel also, he can go for another lap or two if he so chooses. Well, he's improved up into 13th, but he's still 7/10 off of Gusty alone, and the gap between Ryukin and Higsby is a full second. So I hate to say it, but I think there's no choice for Ryukin. With the amount of time left, I don't think there's any way he's going to be able to make it in, unless he can pull off an entire second on this circuit somehow, and
yeah.
I don't know how you would do that. Whippy is retired from the session in the pit lane.
Yeah, he should be through. He's probably comfortable through. Asda's done the same. Retrix is out again. He's in P8, so he will need to go quicker if he wants to get through. With his teammate already out, well crashed out in qualifying too.
Right now, Retro is 8th, and he is about 0.047 seconds above the cutoff line. But again, I wouldn't be worried too much if I was Retro X or Skinny Fishbone. Or Higsby, honestly. I'm not sure if Schold, Gusty, Ryukin, or Fiend can actually set these faster laps necessary.
No, I don't know. They might one or two might be like getting lucky, but it's not. I'm 1 minute 42.743 from Electric, so he makes the set in the second one to get into the 42s. So, but hopefully we can see more drivers get into the 42s in Q3. Regan's 3 temps up on his time. Hooks has gone up to 5th, pushed Whippy down to 6th. That could be interesting. Yep, 143.331 for Reagan. It doesn't mean it's still not meaning that he's going through. Gusty's up, but it's only marginal. That was through the first sector, but he's midway through the second sector.
Fiend is in the middle of his flyer lap right now. This will be Fiend's only attempt at improvement. I think Fiend has the most potential to improve.
Gusty's up to 2 times rank. Scholl's retired, so he's down. But that's in the pit lane, so I think P11 obviously will be the strategy. Well, not really strategy. It'll be good for them. Out to qualifying. Two's finished. Gusty's crossing about across the line. Goes to
He did it!
43.714. Higgs is
And now
invalidated.
Higsby... Oh, so Higsby is going to get knocked out, and that means that only one of the Renaults will make it into the top 10. Fiend is in the middle of the lap, as is Ryukin.
Skinny Fishbone goes to 5th, 1 minute 43.245. Whippy's down to 7th, but I don't. But it won't. He will still be through nevertheless. Reagan's running out of fuel, and he's
on a cooldown lap.
Fiend's a second up in the second sector.
He needs to be up by a lot more than just a second, though. He needs to be up by... Oh my goodness! A humongous accident! And Ryukin, I don't know how that car is still in one piece. That thing bounced off of 2 walls with the force of 1,000 suns.
Surely that's hampered Fiend's that time by a bit.
He's in!
The line. He's through. Just. Not really just, but he's done.
And Ryukin with a massive incident. I don't know how the thing is still alive. Both of those I deeply apologize. I did not mean to say that. Both of those shunts that he took into the wall were easily enough that in a normal Formula 1 car, we would have seen no front suspension left.
Yeah.
But somehow, it seems like it's just front wing damage.
Yeah, a bit of a weird one. But Fiend has just made it through in 10th there, so be lucky for that.
Yeah, a last-minute adjustment. So the drivers who will make it in is XRL Dino in the Red Bull, Retro in the McLaren, Ozda in the Ferrari, Mufasa in the Williams, Skinny Fishbone in the Haas, Books in the Williams, Whippy in the Renault, Prudish Metal 74 in the Alpha, Mr. Anderson in the Ferrari, XRL Fiend in the Red Bull. And the drivers who will not make it is Dave Ewart in the McLaren. He's not able to set a single time after crashing the Al Rouge-Rodillion complex. Ryukin, the Mercedes, will not make it as he insisted on sticking with the mediums that just did not have the pace necessary. Scholden, the Tracing Point, will not make it. Neither will Higsby in the Renault or Gusty in the AlphaTauri. But for Higsby and Gusty, both of them were in the position to make it and just got bumped out in the last closing minutes of the session.
Yep.
Also, real quick question, just to make sure I'm not going crazy. Is it just me, or is the sky darkening up a bit?
Yeah, it is. So Q3 might be a bit of rain. We don't know. We'll see when we get into it. No, it's just sunny again.
One thing for sure, as the track gets a little bit darker, it will gradually start cooling off. It's not going to immediately go from like 200 degrees to 0 degrees, nothing crazy like that. But the track will cool off, and as it does so, you will be a little bit harder to keep the tires at their proper operating temperature. The Pirellis typically have a very, very high window of operation that they prefer to use. First drivers coming onto the track in this session will be Prudish Metal 74 and XRL Ozda. Retrixie also already out into the session, as is XRL Whippy. And Mufasta is out. It looks like that is Books, who is now on his way onto the circuit. Neither of the Red Bulls or the Haas, the Skinny Fishbone, seem to be making moves onto the circuit yet. This is a little bit frustrating for Whippy because he's stuck in the middle of a train of cars, and they all need to get a little bit of a gap so that way there's cleaner air and they're not negatively influencing each other's times. Oof. Brutish Metal gives room for Retro, but then cuts right in front of Whippy. Now Whippy's going to get by Brutish Metal. Dino is now out onto the circuit. And now Brutish Metal needs to figure out if he's going to start flying or if he's going to give some clean track to the Williams behind him. Brutish Metal is still right there underneath Whippy's rear wing. I'm not 100% sure what his plan is. I don't see why you wouldn't just want to pull over and get some more clean track, but okay. Well, to be fair though, it takes you the better part of 3 minutes to get one serious lap in, so I guess I can kind of understand it, but still, it's going to be really, really difficult for these drivers in this pack. Brutish Metal is aborted altogether. He has come into the pits. Alright, now the pressure is on Ozza. He is going to be the first driver, by the looks of it, to set a lap time in this session. All-rain lane, very hard on the ERS and DRS on that long back straightaway. 30.043 at the end of Sector 1. No movement yet from Skinny Fishbone or XRL Fiend. Both of them are still in the pit lane. Well, no, Skinny Fishbone is actually out on track. I missed that. Skinny Fishbone has come out into the circuit. He is in the middle of an outlap.
Yeah.
Ah, and Ozda invalidates. Retro then will probably be the first driver to set a lap time, assuming he doesn't invalidate 1:14.644 at the end of Sector 2. Ozda pulls over a little farther up to save fuel and try to regenerate some of the ERS. Retro is still going at it, though. Fuel is going to be extremely borderline for the McLaren as he hits the line, but it looks like he's timed that just right. So at the line, Retro Rixie will set a lap time of 1:43.124. So there's the time to shoot for. Whippy, it goes across the line, 1:43.404.
Ooh.
And now Mufasa, 1:44.584.
Oh, Dino's invalidated his lap. Books has done the same. Skinny Fishbone's all that.
Brutish Metal in the middle of a warm-up lap right now in Sector 2. Skinny Fishbone in a really, really nice position. There's absolutely nobody around him. For Skinny Fishbone. Brutish Metal is going to come across the line shortly to start his actual flyer lap here. It's going to be a little bit close for the light drivers like Skinny Fishbone and Brutish Metal to actually get a second attempt going. They can probably do it, but they're going to have to hustle on their cooldown lap as well, and they won't have a whole lot of time to make adjustments in pit lane. Skinny Fishbone, 1:43.401. That's good enough for second at the moment.
Here comes
It's
Ozda. 42.4.
Ooh, to the top. Impressive time. Now, I do think that we can probably see everyone from second to fourth definitely improve. Not to mention, if Dino can get out on circuit, he has shown the pace to set flyer laps as well.
Yeah.
So that's not a guaranteed pull, but that's definitely a very, very good run by Ozda. British Metal in the middle of a lap. Books is in the middle of an outlap right now. Dino and Fiend still in pit lane. say this right now. I do sort of wish that in real life Formula 1 broadcasting they had the mini-map of the track somewhere on the screen. I think that would really enhance the broadcasting. A lot more than a lot of the pointless graphics that we currently see on Formula 1 broadcasting.
But they have it.
Anyways, here comes...
Well, they have it sometimes, but like it's not the full race like what we do.
Alright, Push Metal goes up to 5th, 143.481. So right now, Mufasa is the odd man in the group. He's the only driver to have not set a time in the 143s. In fact, Mufasa's time is nearly 9/10 slower than... Actually, it's a little bit more than 9/10 slower than Mr. Anderson's time, which is the 5th fastest. So it's very, very strange, to say the least. Anyways, Retrorixia is out on another outlap right now. And I am seeing movement in the Haas team. I believe that Skinny Fishbone is going to go out and try another lap here. Mr. Anderson has brought his Ferrari back into the pit lane as Books is going to come across the line now. For his attempt, he will try and be the 8th driver to set a lap time. I'm still not seeing any movement from the Red Bull team. I don't know what's going on with Dino and Fiend as Ozza is now coming out onto the circuit for another attempt at a faster lap.
No, that was Mr. Anderson. Mr. Anderson just came out on the pits. I think it was Asda running into the garage.
Oh, you're right, it was. Okay, Ozza came in. Alright, so I got the two Ferraris mixed up.
I've got my eyes on the Red Bull garage, seeing where they're going to come out. Or when then.
The one possible advantage that they could be going for, if they both go out very close to each other, they might be able to get a little bit of a DRS tow on the start-finish straight and on the long back straight. But it's a lot harder to get that DRS tow to work properly in this game than it would be in real life.
Oh, movement in Red Bull. They're coming out, both Red Bulls.
With 2 minutes and 50 seconds in the session, that means they should be able to set one fire lap, and if something goes wrong and they fueled up properly, they may have enough for one more attempt after that.
Fiend out ahead of Dino. Right now.
Books is coming along. He will be the 8th driver to set a lap time in the session, and his lap time will be good enough for a second. Skinny Fishbone retires in the pits.
I did not expect that from Books. That's a real surprise.
Books was one of the Mercedes drivers last season after a roughly third of the way through the season driver shuffle, which saw a lot of the faster drivers get graduated up into X1 or X2. Books ended up in the Mercedes seat, and it was a struggle for the mid-third of the season for Books. But then the latter third, he really started bringing it all together, bringing some good results for the Mercedes. Then he got moved into Williams for this season and has been showing off a lot of good runs this entire year. And this looks like this qualifying run is another example of that. Oh, is that McLaren? Well, that was Retro!
Oh, well, he's on the runoff, so he is fine.
But that was right in front of the Red Bulls. And he's in the middle of an outlap, and I don't know how much damage those tires will have taken. And there's only 1 minute and 22 seconds left. If he wants to go for another shot at the pole, he's going to have to get underway relatively quickly.
Yeah. Alright. Let's see what the grid. If he's on his lap.
Coming to the line. He's going to come to it. Books is in the middle of another lap right now. Retro is going to try and get to the line in time. Whippy, like you said, he's on a lap. Prudish Metal is on an out lap right now, but I don't know if Prudish Metal will be able to make it to the line in time. Mr. Anderson is in the middle of a flyer lap right now, and he's already up on time by about 4/10 at the end of Sector 2. Dino is going to come across the line right about now.
With his dime marginally.
Might still be able to make it up in Sector 2. Sector 2 is the big magic area on the circuit where you can make up a lot of time. And then if you're really, really good under braking, I guess you could do it in Sector 3 as well. But Sector 2 is the real area where you can make up or lose the most time. Brutish Metal coming across the line, so he is now beginning his flyer lap, and he will get his chance with 12 seconds left on the clock. So Whippy will be the first one to cross the line to see if he's actually going to improve or not. Because as we look at the clock right now, time's up, over, plow. To the final chicanes. The fuel light is flashing on the Renault, but it doesn't matter. He does not squeal the tires. He's going to be having a good run across the line. Second, 142.589. Here comes Azda.
We're going to do yellow flag. Even quicker than before.
Wow! 142.140. Alright, here comes the first of the Red Bulls. Fiend, only a 144. That's not even remotely a decent time. Oh, that's not looking good for him whatsoever. What about his teammate Dino? Mufasa is going to cross the line, but very, very slow. Does not improve. Dino up to second now. 142.337.
The tires got to him.
Brutish Metal is up by a bit more than a quarter of a second, and Mr. Anderson is significantly down on time. On the other hand, though, something must have happened to Mr. Anderson. But Brutish Metal might try and be a spoil sport and jump up the order a bit. What will he do at the line? He jumped up to what looked to be 7th, I think. Yes, Brutish Metal gets 7th at the end. But impressive run for the pole for Azda. It wasn't really the fastest in Q1 or Q2, but when it came down to it, it happened. Dino takes home second with a 142.337. Whippy in the Renault, 142.589. Books in the Williams will start 4th. Mr. Anderson, the other Ferrari, will start 5th. Retrixie in the McLaren will be 6th. British Metal in the Alpha will start 7th. Mufasa in the Williams will start 8th. Skinny Fishbone in the Haas will start 9th. And Fiend in the Red Bull will start 10th. It is very strange, though, because the gap between Skinny Fishbone and Fiend is massive. That's nearly 0.6 of a second exactly. I wonder what happened to Fiend's lap that caused him to be so much slower than everyone else. I mean, it didn't help that he decided to wait until the last minute to set a proper flyer lap, but still.
Yeah. But that's just one thing that he needs to do to close the gap to a pin, that is get pole position. So we'll see how the race goes. It's like rain conditions. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Azda was running in the top 3 all day long in the realistic race. Ooh, well, I don't know about you, mate, but I think I need to go out there and, like, take some cloth and wipe some rain off the camera lens because that track looks wet.
Indeed.
So with that in mind, then that means that everyone basically made the right call in Q2 to just go right away on the soft tire compounds because everyone will be starting on intermediates, I imagine. And with that in mind, it's going to make things significantly straightforward when it comes to pit strategy. It's just going to be maintain the intermediates as long as you can, swap to another set of them to the end of the race, or if the track happens to dry out close to the end, go ahead and be the driver who isn't the first to jump on the sauce, but jumps on the sauce at the right time. Now, the interesting thing, though, is that with how big this track is, the track is going to dry at a somewhat uneven pace for one, but the, quote, right time to change tires could be decided just on where you are at on the track. You could be 5th and come into the pits, put on another set of tires for a drier track, and it might be too early and you end up wasting a lot of time. While you could be 6th, a good third of a lap back, but that is a massive amount of time here, and that could be enough to get you in that lucky position. Anyways, Ryukin and Ozda have already readied up, and we anticipate we'll see the rest of the field readying up shortly afterwards. Oh, wow, that didn't take a minute. Wow, we normally have 5 minutes to wait. That took no minutes to wait. 5 lights.
Oh.
As lights out, away we go here. And right off the bat, there's a McLaren that didn't go at all. That's leading to a massive stack up in the back of the field.
Retrixie never
Neither
got
of the
moving.
McLarens got going.
Oh, And I think it must have, an early ready up, it must have been.
Constant Jet is absolutely destroyed. Oh my goodness, Mr. Anderson. There's an attack of like 4 cars all having, and now a McLaren. Are they all just messing around right now?
What's going on here?
I don't know. I see Mr. Anderson's car up in the air.
Whippy's gone.
No, that's not Mr. Anderson's, that's Whippy's. I think that's probably going to dictate a session restart.
Yeah. Oh, I'll put Rouge and Ready on as well. We're definitely going for a lobby restart. It seems.
Ooh!
Yeah, lobby restart. You're gonna have to be.
Well, that was a thing. So yeah, no choice. We're gonna have to go to a lobby restart. That was hyper chaotic to say the least. I'm going to say this. I think what probably happened in the Al Rouge or Dillian complex was probably everyone saw that massive accident and they just kind of gave up and just, ran to the wall for kicks because they figured there was going to be a lobby restart. Because it'd be weird if they were all on AI, but we saw neither of the McLaren cars get moving at the start, and that is what directly led to the stack up, and it just kept going and going and going and going and going, and Toaster and going and going and going and going.
Yeah. Well, new lobby is up. And, oh, thank you. Yeah, we're definitely it.
Alright, well, hopefully it shouldn't take too long to get everything properly set up for the race reattempt.
And yeah, we're just waiting on we're just waiting for both Mercedes, Skinny Fishbone, Boofy, and Higgsy just to join. Skinny Fishbone's in the lobby. There.
So now we're just standing by until we can get the proper lobby restart going. I think this is like only the second time this season that we've had a full-on lobby restart this year for X3. I mean, we had a lot of them last season, but this year I think this is only the second time, so...
Yeah. Obviously we got who readied up, and they'll probably be going to the back of the grid for the race start. So we'll see on that. it was definitely not like it was definitely a bit of a weird one. Not what people were wanting.
I will say this, so I don't know all the exacts on how this game properly works, but I did see what I believe was Ryukin ready up first, and then about 5 or 6 seconds later, Ozda readied up in response. And then I wonder if that inspired the lobby to go ahead and get ready right away. And everyone was like rushing to their cars or rushing to their controls to try and get in control, and the McLaren drivers did not get a chance to get there quick enough, and that is why they did not get going at the line. That's what I think probably happened, at least.
Yeah. Oh, alright.
Just still standing by until we get underway, but I believe everyone is now here with us. Well, we might still be missing our other Mercedes driver, I think. Yeah, Fratters hasn't properly selected the Mercedes yet. But other than that, everyone is here in the lobby, and I imagine everyone's just trying to make sure they get their
Yeah.
race setups properly loaded back on.
Yeah. Also,
Real quickly.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
also will be the grid wars that need to be sorted as well from the qualifying.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
All right, looks like everyone's readying up
Yep.
now, and we should be loading onto the circuit shortly. And then after we load onto the circuit, it will probably be another 3 to 5 minute wait until we get underway with the race itself.
We're loading in. And we'll go. Wait. Oh.
Oh, we're all just going right off the bat. All right, well, to attempt 2, XRL doesn't allow another attempt, so here we go. Lights out now, and away we go. And Retro leaves the session immediately, and Ozza didn't get going whatsoever.
Oh, it's this again. The thing is, as well, I don't think we can go again.
Yeah, we don't think we can go again.
We can only do one restart.
But the field is completely bundled there in turn 1 as well right now. I'm gonna be honest, XRL needs to throw away that rule and go again. I understand that the rules say you're only supposed to do one attempt, but frankly, they need to go again, because this is just as much of a farce as the first time.
Yeah. And the thing is, I don't think we caught out who did it the second time as well.
We did. There was like 5 different drivers who all readied up at about the same time that time around.
Yeah, yeah, we're going. And I've been disconnected for that.
Yeah, I really hope to God this doesn't become the actual official race start, because this is more of a sham. This is just as much of a sham as last time.
Yep. Joke, really.
Oh, now I've been disconnected. That's awesome.
I got disconnected as well.
So now, I'm going to say this. Now I'm wondering if maybe the problem isn't the drivers maybe rating up too soon. Maybe it is the servers for the game.
Yeah, we'll see. Oh, that again. It's just. I think it's probably an even bigger punishment now with that. Alright, I'm going in again. Oh, well, thank you for the,
Thank you. Did you see who readied up first that time, out of curiosity?
No, because as I loaded in, it didn't show up the names of, like, who did it.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, same thing for me. It didn't show any of the names, and then when it did, it showed like 10 of them already at the same time.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
All right, so now we go for our 3rd attempt at this.
Yeah. Gee.
All right, well, We're gonna try and do this again now, so...
Yeah. I, yeah.
Me missing anyone.
Well,
Fratters is back. I know Ray Yukin's not going to be here. We're missing the
Retro.
other McLaren driver of Retro right now.
Yeah. Oh, Retro's just said he's got that his Xbox has just turned off on him.
Now we wonder, will they wait for him or will they just go without him? That's my wonder.
We'll see. I think.
Sheksker might be allowed in as
No, I
a
don't
reserve
think so.
driver.
No,
Because I'm looking at the chat right now and he asked if it was allowed.
No,
And then
but-
Whippy said yes.
No, then they changed. No, but then.
Oh, wait, no, yeah, and he takes it back right afterwards. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Well, I guess right now we're making up for the lack of lobby restarts today, I guess. And we're making up for the fact that last week was probably the fastest race ever in X3. We're making up for that now also.
We'll probably clash with X2 at this rate.
That'll be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what? While we're doing this, while we're just staying by and waiting
Yep.
for our third attempt.
Retro's in.
Okay, sweet. Retro's back. I'm going to be honest. This is kind of awkward because, yeah, we'll have these waiting periods sometimes, but normally, I can talk about something kind of inane or something, but this is actually like a little bit frustrating because there's not actually anything actively going on. We've already covered everything that's happened throughout qualifying. We saw 2 accidents, 1 in Q1, 1 in Q2. Kind of crazy into Q2 at the bottom of the grid. Everyone figured there was going to be a wet race start, so no one did anything with the mediums outside. Excuse me. Excuse me. Oh my god, what in the world? Ugh. Wow, I didn't realize I was keeping that much gas in my body. What in the world was that? But anyways, in Q2, pretty much everybody just stuck with running soft tire compound, so there wasn't really a whole lot of drama surrounding if the mediums were going to be abandoned or not, because everyone figured we were going to be starting on the soft tires. Then once we got into Q3, Ozda pretty much dominated the ever-living out of the session and easily took home pole, and that's like kind of it. Like, it was a fun session, but there wasn't anything like super dramatic in any of them, and we've now had 2 completely botched race starts because of a Mercedes driver who just both times apparently rated up a little bit too quickly. Alright, here we are. Now we're going to load onto the track one more time, and then it will be another 3 to 5 minute wait before we actually get racing underway.
Yep, we'll be going at 25 past 6. Hopefully nobody ready's up again this time. Here we go, so far. For him. Now we just gotta wait.
Just stand by until we get underway for the race. Well, this will be a small help to Boothie at least, because he won't be starting 20th. He'll be starting 19th, so that's one less guy he'll have to make his way up through the field for. He is one of the drivers who thinks he has a relatively good wet setup for the event, so...
Yep.
Well, you know what? While we stand by waiting, just to clear the air, we'll just go through the intro 3 one more time. Apollo 440 Blackbeat, the ITV Formula 1 theme between 2000 and 2002. So, how about the Catalunya race today?
It was alright, but then Red Bull marked up the strategy with Verstappen.
I mean, it's Red Bull. They're going to probably do nothing but work up. They basically need, just to put things in perspective, Mercedes basically needs to crash out to give Red Bull a chance at winning their races.
Yeah.
Still staying by until we get underway for what will be our third attempt at the race start here. Typically, XRL has a limit of only one race restart attempt, but due to the ridiculous, to say at least, circumstances, that's not been the case. In our first attempt, neither of the McLarens were able to get going, and it led to a massive 10-car stack-up before we even got to the hairpin. And then the second time, our pole sitter didn't get going, and that led to a 12-car stack-up in the hairpin of turn 1. So, yeah, it has not been good. At this point, quite literally, we could still see 5 cars get crashed out in Al Rouge Rodilli in lap 1, and we would still have a better start than our first 2 attempts.
Oh, we should be going in a minute. Yeah, oh, right, yeah, we're now going.
Alright. This is the moment of truth, boys. Four lights, 5 lights.
And
There's lights out and away we go, and this time the field gets away without too much of an issue on the run down into turn number 1.
Oh, it's gonna be wide. This is gonna be the odd illusion round on that section is gonna see a bit of incidents, especially in the wet.
It seems winglets coming off in the back of the field, and Fratters went way offline, but it looks like everyone made it through without too much of an issue. And Ozda is clearly losing away as Whippy and Dino are in it right now for 2nd and 3rd position.
Oh, Boothie on the inside of Higsy. Higsy's been forced wide a bit, but Boothie will take that place. Johnson Jet is having a look. It's for 17th, but thinks better of it.
Fiend, Scholl, and Skinny Fishbone are all around top of each other. Now you can add Mufasa to that list as well. Those are the battle for the points paying positions at the bottom, in the middle of the grid. And Mr. Anderson, meanwhile, is now seeing Dino ahead of him, and he wants to try and put some pressure on that car. So we've just about completed 1 lap here. Boothie and Higsby will not stop fighting for those 16th and 17th positions.
Oh, Higgsy's trying to get past Boothie. Both of them go wide, and you can see the place to go is Jet in the process. Visibility. Oh, we're Tisani in the back of Fratters. Almost, but is Tisani got damage on the front wing of his? No, he doesn't not any significant damage. Luckily, they're all good. And like, oh, and again making more contact. And then
And now
Boothie,
Boothie will capitalize.
so Boothie up to 15th after starting from the back.
I see no damage to Sani's front wing, or if there is any damage, I can't see it. Now Constant Jet is going to put some pressure on him. On the outside, tire to tire, and he's got him.
Yeah. Oh, no flag. No flags. I'm assuming you sit 2.
Whatever it was, it didn't last for long because everyone is still underway as far as I can tell.
Bean is not getting the back of shoulder moment.
Racing Point trying to hold off a Red Bull as they're at the bottom sections of the track right now. Meanwhile, farther up, Books and Mr. Anderson have just briefly exchanged positions, but now Mr. Anderson is going to try and fight back. He's right in the draft of the Williams. Again, under rain, there is no DRS, so every overtake you see is 100% driver skill and ability, or, more likely, a driver ahead making a mistake and conceding the position from that mistake. Look at this dive from Mr. Anderson. And Books gets a penalty for track violations and trying to fight back against Mr. Anderson.
Oh. Be making slight contact with shoulder. No damage on the front wing though. Using up all of his DRS there on the main straight. Just try and make the attack on shoulder. He goes wide into turn 1 shoulder. And Fane will take the place up to P10.
Cuts down right in front of Schold, so Schold's gonna have to deal with the arrow weight going through the Al Rouge dealing section. Now Fiend goes a little bit wide uphill, but not enough to compromise his line, so Fiend will hold on to 10th for the moment. Schold's a little bit faster though.
Riders totally caught that corner. Collie Boy's gone.
Collie Boy.
Goofy trying to get past Fridays.
No damage.
Like Fridays totally caught the left hander of the exit of Radion. And he's still in 14th with Boofy, and look on the inside, not able to get past. Oh, Fridays has just gone a bit wide. Boofy side by side.
Oh, that was a very, very aggressive cutback onto the track.
Fridays almost went to the wall there, but luckily they keep it out of there. Oh, Fridays has got front wing damage.
Jet might get him.
Fridays has got
This means
front
that
wing
Constant Jet. Oh, and that means that Constant Jet might be able to sneak by Fratters here while he continues to struggle with that front wing. Yeah, already Boothie has opened up a 1.5 second gap on Fratters, and it just continues to open up. The wing damage is really, really bad for Fratters. And very aggravating for Constant Jet, because he's faster than him, but he doesn't have any way to cleanly get by that Mercedes.
Yep, Sani.
It's also brought to Sani. Yeah. Ooh! And Tasani just ran right into the back of Constant Jet, and Constant Jet's gone around.
He can't get the wall. Collie Boy is just coming through the bus stop chicane. And Constant Jet's just got it going again.
Schold still working, or trying at least to work on Fiend.
Boofy's closing on to the back of Davey Bar. The 4th to 13th. He's really making a comeback.
Crashed early on in qualifying session 1, starting the very last position, and now he's already up to 14th and trying to slug it out on 13th position. Almost every single overtake he has made has been pure skill based. Tasani is right there behind Fratters right now, and Fratters is just dropping rapidly off the back of the rest of the field. So now it's Tasani who's being held up by the Mercedes. A little bit farther up in the field, Brutish Metal is closed within about half a second of Gusty ahead. But now as they come through the exit of Sector 2 and into Sector 3, British Metal has the draft. He can lane on the ERS a bit and maybe try and outbrake Gusty going into the chicanes. Ooh, Gusty really wide. But not an issue yet. Mr. Anderson loses a position to Retro now. So it looks like that Ferrari is struggling to keep everything together.
Both barely, he's like not over 90% of his ERS, like, and then you've got the Dave who's on like 78%, so if he's really conserving that ERS, he's a good time penalty in 17th. Both, nice move on Dave Eagle off the 13th place. Brilliant stuff from him.
It was really early on the straight also, so he's just going to continue to maximize that straight line speed. So now Boothie up into 13th. Now he's 2.4 seconds out from Mufasa, so Boothie can just kind of calm it down just a bit and just start focusing on putting down flyer laps to catch up to the drivers ahead. Our top three drivers, Ozda, Whippy, and Dino, have opened up a gap on the rest of the field, but the three of them are all staying within about 2 seconds of each other. The most active battle on track, I would say, at this point, is either Tassani trying to get by the wounded car of Fratters, or Prudish Metal trying to catch Gusty, but now Prudish has just made a mistake, and Tassani has just gotten by Fratters, so it looks like both of those battles ended as soon as I mentioned them, go figure. Now it's Higsby's turn to try and get by Fratters.
Yep, really, front wing damage at this track it will really hamper your race with the amount of high speed corners, like high and low speed corners. So
right now, the fastest three cars on the track are Ozza's third fastest, Whippy is second fastest, and then Dino is the fastest. So the top three are all being bunched up, but still pulling away from the rest of the grid. So this could end up being a very, very interesting battle for the race lead once they get into a position that they can actually start making overtakes. Oh, here comes Whippy. He's trying for it now, though. He's laying hard on the ERS. He's in the draft, but stalls out about a quarter of a second out from behind Ozza, so he can't do anything to him that time. Advantage for Ozza is that he has fresher air and he doesn't have to worry about the spray from the cars ahead. Whippy and Dino will, although they have the draft on the straights, they're going to have less clean air going through the corners, although that doesn't matter as much with these intermediate compounds, and they're going to have to deal with the spray of the cars ahead. Prudish Metal still right there behind Gusty, and Collie Boy has had another incident at the top of the hill.
Lost his whole front ring
second time, and that will bring out a virtual safety car.
Alright. Boofy's caught right up to move faster in these last few laps, so Boofy's could be getting some potential good points here if he keeps up with this pace.
As long as he doesn't get penalized by the game for speeding under the virtual safety car, it should be very good for him. Yeah, I thought it would take him a lot longer to catch to Mufasa, but he closed that gap almost right away, so outstanding job by Boothie there. Shockingly, Collie Boy, he ripped the front wing off that car, but he is still alive and still going, so all 19 starters, well, 19 of our 20 qualifiers, and all 19 starters are still on the racetrack, so.
Yeah.
Fiend drive-through penalty for speeding under the virtual safety car, and he had been working on Skinny Fishbone, and that's basically really going to hurt him bad. Now, the good news is for Fiend, he got that notification before the safety car was lifted, so he was able to immediately pit And that will help significantly with minimizing the damage of that drive-through penalty.
Yep, let's promote in a few drivers up the order. Boofy right on the back and move fast ahead of Hard Rouge and Rally on.
Oh, and Whippy's just gotten by Ozza for the lead. They're still fighting, but Whippy had his nose ahead. So Whippy beat Ozda on the initial run, and now Whippy runs wide. But he's still there. He's still there. He's still working on Ozda.
Boofy just doesn't have enough straight line speed to get past me faster for 11th. And like, oh, this is good. This is a good one. I've been watching Boofy these last few laps with his pace, just really excelling in this one. Getting his way up the order.
He's up to 12th now.
Right.
If he can get by Mufasa and then Scholl farther up the lane, he will be in points-paying positions. The problem for Boothie, though, is that he has a time penalty against him, so he's going to have to outdrive the time penalties as well.
It's up 7 places as well, so he's definitely doing good.
Whippy's dropped off a bit from Ozda. Now Retro has a time penalty against him for track violations. Prudish Metal is now trying to work on Gusty and the other AlphaTauri. So it seems like both of the AlphaTauris have been struggling today. Although Gusty not quite as much as Collie Boy.
Oh, yellow flag.
Oh,
Skinny Fishbone.
and that's Skinny Fishbone. I don't see any damage, but he suddenly came to a very abrupt stop. And Scholl has brought it into the pits.
I'll look at us. Let's see what this pit stop's going to be about. If it's
Yeah, I
for...
wonder if there's front wing damage.
let's see. No front wing damage. So that's a strange one in my eyes.
Well, he might be trying to get some clean track around him so he's not being held up in time by the drivers around him. Meanwhile, Boothie is still right there behind Mufasa. Now, Mufasa has graduated up into 10th and Boothie 11th, so this is a battle for points-paying positions now.
Yeah, Skinny Fisherman as well. It's like not far from that as well. So as soon as Boothie he gets past Mufasa, they can immediately just go on the attack of Skinny Fishbone. Oh, no, that's a yellow.
Another thing for Collie Boy. And there's front wing damage on that car again. That's 3 different accidents he's had in just the first 8 laps alone. And this will likely put him a lap down because the leaders are already going through Sector 3 now.
Yeah, definitely. He's definitely going to be lapped. And with that.
Now, while the AlphaTauris have had some rough races before, I think this is probably uncharacteristically the worst that they've had. Meanwhile, farther back in the field, Fratters and Higsby are fighting for 15th and 16th. Higsby continues to be held up by Fratters, but can't seem to navigate his Renault past the wounded Mercedes. Higsby keeps backing off to try and make something happen, but Fratters has good straight line speed. Oh, and Fratters is in the wall just as I said that. And that will give the position to Higsby. And now Constant Jet is going to have to worry about him.
Scholl as well. He's on the back of that, so he'll be taking an opportunity. Fratters has finally decided to go and make that pit stop.
Dino is falling off the front 2 just a little bit, and Whippy is still staying within about a second of Ozda. Not anything very aggressive on track that he's done since that restart from the virtual safety car, but he is trying to do stuff, to say the least. And that's Collie Boy, and Collie Boy comes to almost a complete stop there to let the field by. That brings out very brief yellow flags in Sector 2, but shouldn't be an issue because it's already cleared up.
Yeah, indeed.
Most of the battles on the track at this point seem to have pretty much evaporated. Now, there are drivers who are looking at the cars ahead of them, like Boothie and Mufasa, but no actual fighting at this point. Everyone's trying to settle into a rhythm and just set good, fast lap times.
Yeah. But if he's still on the back of Mufasa for a 10th, he's just biding his time, waiting for him to probably make an error and then pounce on him.
If Goofy can tie it all together and make this stick, I would say at least potential driver of the day, coming back from a crash and qualifying and gain into the points. If he can make if he can get into the points and he can make all these positions without the assist of DRS, I'm just gonna say it like that would be driver of the day material right there. If that ends up being what happens.
Yeah, indeed. Indeed. Like so far so good. British medals in the pits. Making a stop. And I think it's just a fresh set of intermediates to be signed. 1 minute 56 point. 1 minute 56 is the fastest lap of the race. And actually, British medal is replacing that front wing. So he's sustained front wing damage somewhere. And Goofy making a move on Mufasa, trying to make a move on Mufasa, heading up all Rouge, ready on, not making it happen, but on the exit, Goofy will have that speed, the straight line speed of the Alfa Romeo against the Williams, feeding with another 3 second time pilot there.
Goofy just not able to make it stick for an overtake, and he realizes that, so he's just staying right there behind the Williams for now.
Yeah, almost making contact there. On the
inside,
and he's done it.
Impressive job now. Moved Boothie up into the 9th position, and Mufasa didn't even do anything wrong. Boothie just set that up all the way down in turn 1 and didn't execute it until the other half of the racetrack, but an outstanding job by Boothie, and now he's already gapping Mufasa and putting his sights on Skinny Fishbone ahead.
Well, from the back, think Baby Water or having a nice ball into the back of them. Oh, yellow flags. And that's just Collie Boy slowing down.
No, that's not Collie Boy slowing down, that's Collie Boy in a massive accident, actually.
Oh, costing VSC.
That's 4 massive crashes for Collie Boy. I'm more shocked that the car is still alive than anything else, but 4 accidents in just the first half of the race alone. And here's the other thing, this is going to make things interesting because that virtual safety car came out after the leaders came across the line. Books is getting a free pit stop out of this, Mr. Anderson is getting a free pit stop out of this, Gusty is getting a free pit stop out of this. So that, depending on how things go, that could shake up the race just a little bit.
The fastest big kick. No, Skinny Fishbone's had a crash in the pit lane. And his teammates in the pits as well. But not very good communication going down that Haas. And we're back under basic conditions, so we're losing even more time. Let's get. It's not looking good.
Yeah, very, very poor. Double stacking right there.
If he's received number 3 second 7 penalty.
But Boothie is also now up into the 6th position. And he's behind Books, and Books did put on new tires, so Books will fall, Boothie will fall down the order just a bit. I think you're only gonna have to make 1 serious pit stop in this race, just to go from one set of intermediates to another.
Gusty managed to get past Davey Ward for 9th. Hicksy's just got past Scholl for 12th as well, so... Oh, well, Scholl, actually, no, Scholl's fighting back, but concedes the place, so Hicksy's now in 12th.
And that's Constant Jet behind them. Constant Jet might go ahead and try... Oh, no, Scholl ran really wide, and now Constant Jet's going to try and take the position back. Didn't work out, but... they're really racing here because Skinny Fishbone is right there in the midst of it as well. Now, Higsby and Constant Jet are on the same tires they started the race on. There's definitely some wear on them.
Yep.
And Gusty's just overtaken Mufasa farther up in the order, and Dave Ewart wants to try and capitalize on that as well, but he has to back out. And here we are. Whippy and Dino have both come into the pits now. Ozza's staying out another lap, but Whippy and Dino are both coming in. Retro's coming in as well. So here's going to be the interesting thing, because Books came in while Retro stayed out. So I'm curious to see if Books is going to end up ahead of Retro or not.
Yeah. Oh, something's happened for a bet between Coldboy and Fradders. They're fine. Mufasa just rejoined. That's good. Riders has got damage on the front, on the left end plate, so there might be a collision with him and Collie Boy.
And yes, Books has jumped Retro and has actually closed in just a little bit on Dino.
British Medals, that's the fastest lap of the race, 156.307. He's currently running 9th.
Well, now Whippy is in the perform spot. He has no cars ahead of him. He needs to set a bloody fast pair of laps so that way he can leapfrog Ozda. If he can do that, he can get into the lead, and considering how hard it has been to overtake today, I think Whippy might be able to walk off with the win if he can set a really, really good lap here. Way farther back in the field, Dave Ewart is still right there behind Mufasa, trying to make something happen. That will be a battle for 14th and 15th positions. Ozda is coming into the pits now, so we look at Whippy to see if Whippy will inherit the lead against Ozda. This is going to be extremely close, but I think Whippy's going to get it.
Oh. Yeah, he's... Oh.
Yeah, Whippy's going to have it because although Ozda comes out on track just ahead of him, he's slower, so Whippy is going to walk by. So Whippy is now on track to win back-to-back races.
4 in a row, I think. Skinny Fishbone's on the back of Schold for 10th. This is fighting for... This is a battle for the point. On the main straight, Skinny Fishbone. Oh, he just...
Oh, contact! Now, Schold was able to get away with it, though. And I think both of them were actually able to get away without too much of an issue. So, the overcut did not work for Ozda. The undercut seems to be the preferred thing of choice, as Books used it to get by Retro, and Whippy has used it to get by Ozda.
And, yeah. Oh, but if he's made a bit stop, he's in a P9 at the moment.
He's still in the points, though, and he has clean track ahead of him now. So, as long as he can just put some good laps together, he can outrun his time penalties and maybe still walk out here with points. So, it could still all come together for a good result for him. Dino has dropped off of our top two. He seems to be very solidly in third right now, as the two leaders just slowly walking away from him at this point in the race.
Skinny Fishbone still trying to get past Schold for 10th at the moment. And Skinny Fishbone does
Retro's
have
just gotten back by Books on track.
Skinny Fishbone does have
Books
that
went a
special.
little bit wide. Books went a little bit wide in the hairpin, and Retro just took a nice cleaner line. Oh, but he's faster, but he cut the track a bit. They're side by side, and Books gonna fall back in line behind Retro. But it looks like Retro has that position for now.
Skinny Fishbone does have that fresh tires to compare to Schold, so he should be able to make that move. But he also has got to defend from Fiend behind as well.
The thing, though, is that Fiend has a time penalty against him. Schold and Skinny Fishbone do not. So when you come closer to the end, that's going to play. Oh, and
Oh,
Higsby
Higsby's
and Constant Jet have both had incidents, and that's at the top of the hill. And here comes Collie Boy. I don't see the. Oh wow, both of those cars completely destroyed. And that's a full course safety car, and those cars are destroyed.
Both sides of that track. And then, this might not open up anything for strategy-wise, but it will bunch up the field, giving drivers an opportunity to make their way back up the field at least.
We're going to try and get both of them in here to see if they're willing to share what happened from their perspective.
Oh.
All right, Higsby is coming into the party. Yeah, Higsby, big accident there at the top of the hill, but we didn't get to see it. What happened from your perspective? Well, Constant, do you think there was any chance you could have avoided, or was it just like he was right there before you could even see him? Well, either way, sorry to see both of you taken out so early. Well, not really that early, but at this point in the race, especially when no one else had dropped out at this point. Well, real quick question. Did either of you save the replay? Because I'd be interested in seeing what happened exactly. Alright. Yeah, that's fine. Well, anyways, thanks for sharing your guys' experiences as we now begin to turn our focus back onto the racetrack. I anticipate that we will probably going green on lap 17, because right now Fratters and Schold are not even close to the back of the field at the moment, and Collie Boy is already a lap down, might even go 2 laps down depending on how things go. It has been a nightmare day for Collie Boy today.
Yeah, he's been caught up in so many incidents.
So what? Alright. Thanks, Constant.
Okay. Well,
Fratter's currently about 33 seconds off the back of the field right now. So here's the one thing. This is great for Ozda and Dino, because both of them now will have a chance to try and make another run for the lead, or Dino's position, maybe even second. But Whippy now has this pressure of leading the field to the green flag. A little bit farther back, now Mr. Anderson and Gusty are back in play for positions in the top 5, potentially. Boothie is now in 9th, and although everyone ahead of him is now closer, he now has to fight with Skinny Fishbone behind, and Fishbone does not have any time penalties, while Boothie still has time penalties he needs to outrun. So this restart here is going to be critical, because all these drivers that do have time penalties are artificially losing a lot of time and potentially positions because of this bunching of the field.
Yeah, well, see what will happen. Restart if there's going to be any incidents. Hopefully not, but we'll see.
Again, I anticipate that we'll probably be going green this lap because Fratters is only about 20 seconds out, and he can just absolutely hoof it right now as long as he doesn't, wreck the car like we saw in the XRL race where a few guys tore off their front wings trying to catch the backfield. As long as Fratters doesn't wreck the car, it should be okay, and I think Fiend and Skate Fishbone just made contact, and that means that both of them are now going to get penalties, and that is perfect for Boothie because now he doesn't have to worry about either of them.
Yep.
Alright, and here comes Fratters. He is going... Oh, and now Boothie now has made a contact with Skate Fishbone.
Alright.
Alright, now the question is... I'm going to be right on board, Dino. Would you be interested in putting a little bit of focus near the back of the field, though, for this restart? So the focus is going to be what can... And now another time penalty for Boothie on Skate Fishbone. That's weird. I'm not looking at that right now, but I can't imagine that actually is happening. I wonder if that's just the game being bullcrap, but...
Yeah.
Anyways, coming to the green flag. Can Ozda or Dino get a good run against Whippy? Dino backs off of Ozda just a little bit. Oh, and Ozda makes a mistake. Ozda made a mistake and lost the position of Dino coming to the green. Dino concedes the position back, but this means that Whippy is going to be able to open everything up. He's already opened 2.3 seconds of a gap. Retro actually jumped over Dino. Books jumped over Dino, so Dino has now fallen to the 5th position now because of that.
Skate Fishbone's gone to the pits. He's got front wing damage. Probably, I think he might have just made contact with Boothby, and that's what gave him 5 second time penalty. So it might be removed after the race. Yeah, Skate Fishbone's serving a 5 second time penalty and not changing his front wing. Time penalty wise, Fiend's on 14, Boothby's on 19 seconds surprisingly. But like 10 seconds of those penalties were due to the collisions he had with Skate Fishbone. So it's really heartbreaking for both the animal. He's going from a potential 3 points finish to probably not getting any due to to use 10 seconds worth of penalties being gifted to him.
And the real heartbreak is going to be for Dino and Ozda. Ozda choked coming to the green flag, going to a little bit wide. Dino slipped by to avoid hitting him, but then had to give up the position, and that caused a massive kerfuffle. Dino has now fallen to 5th, and Ozda is still 2nd, but now he's 3 seconds out from Whippy right now. And now Retro and Books have been graduated up into the 3rd and 4th positions. Now the good news for Dino is that he still doesn't have any time penalties. As long as he keeps it that way, he should be able to leapfrog back ahead of Retro and Books at the end of this race. But still, it's an absolute mess and a travesty for those 2 drivers. Prudish Metal right now in the back of Mr. Anderson thought of making a dive going into the final 2 corners, thinks better of it because he's anticipating getting a better run on the main straight. Oh, and Fratters!
Oh.
I don't see what happened, but that's another full course safety car. And for Ozda, that is going to be wonderful because that will bring him right back up to the leader. But what happened to Fratters?
Might make contact with Collie.
No, it happened when he was way ahead of Collie Boy, at least from on my screen, that's what it showed.
Oh,
I didn't get to see him. Yeah, well, we're going to try and invite Fratters in here and see if he's willing to share what happened from his perspective, at least. But we are under our 2nd full course yellow of the day. Both of them come in the last third of the race also. Oh boy, everyone with a time penalty is absolutely going to hate their lives now.
Yeah. Yeah, Boothie and Fiend are one of them. It's going to be one of them with over 5th ball with 10 seconds of penalties.
All right, coming into the party right now is Fratters, and another penalty for Boothie. Now contact with Gusty apparently. But anyways, Fratters, go ahead and include your audio. What happened there that took you out of the race?
midway through sector 2, I kind of lost the back end, ended up gaining a lot of grass on my tyres, almost died, and then coming through Blanchimont, got a snap of oversteer and just went straight into the wall. So, not ideal, but I was miles off the pace anyway, so could be worse.
Alright, it's an absolute shame to see you get knocked out this late in the event also, when, depending on how things went, you could have gotten points maybe off of all the drivers ahead who had massive amounts of time penalties.
True, but depending on if Boofy loses any penalties, that's a disqualification for him, so at least my bet's still safe.
Alright. Well, anyways, Fratters, shame to see you get knocked out, but thanks for sharing with us what happened.
Alright, cheers guys.
Alright, so right now it's lap 18, about to start lap 19. We should go green on lap 20, and it will be a 3-lap sprint to the end. Now, there is still rain on the track, so and Boothie is coming in the pits now, so he will probably serve some of those time penalties while in the pits. But he's also going to plummet out of the points paying position, so absolutely the opposite of ideal for him. Oh, and there's significant wind damage on that car. Ooh.
That must have been from the gusty collision then, so that's probably why. Yeah. But he's just sort of 5 seconds on that now on 19, but I think he might try and get 10 seconds of penalties off him.
Anyways, now we just need Boothie and Skane Fishbone to properly catch up to the back of the field. Now, this is going to be interesting. We need to watch Boothie because yesterday in the XRL race, Boothie crashed when he came out of the pits going uphill, but it looks like he's going to be able to keep it together this time. So, because that was an issue that took him out in the race itself yesterday. So, but anyways, we just need Boothie and Skane Fishbone to properly catch up to the back of the field, and we should go green on this lap. Ozda needs to not make the mistake he did last time. He needs to be perfect coming to the green flag. If he runs wide again, he's not going to have a chance, I think, to get by Retro or anyone else who gets by him coming to the green. But for Whippy, he just needs to replicate what he did on the last restart. And another win for Whippy would basically further cement his championship hopes. Again, this is a shorter season. Only 15 races this season, and this is race 10, so the larger and larger Whippy makes the gap, the sooner and sooner he can lock up the title this season.
Yeah.
Alright, Boothie has caught up to the back of the field, and I think Skane Fishbone's just about to as well. And now Collie Boy gets a penalty for a collision with Boothie. And safety cars coming in this lap.
Oh, what's going on here? And Boothie's got another 5 seconds again. What's going on here? Oh no, something's going on with Skane Fishbone, Boothie and Collie Boy. I think Skane Fishbone passed Collie Boy in the safety car conditions. I don't know if he's getting told that. Oh, what's going on? Collie Boy's just stationed on the track and Boothie's just got by him.
Oh, and Ozza has crashed! And Ozza has crashed coming to the line!
Oh, is that going to create a Constantine effect? No, it's not.
No, but Ozza is now out of the points-paying positions, and with massive front wing damage, Whippy has won this race unless somehow Retro can do something to him. And I don't see that happening because Retro didn't get a very good run. With that in mind, the championship, for all intents and purposes, is probably Whippy's. I think he's mathematically may have just locked it up.
Yeah. I just now jumped into the pits. Changed that front wing. Let's see with off recently time penalty from Warrington at this.
Mr. Anderson, Brutish Metal in a battle going down the back straightaway, and Brutish Metal sneaks by Mr. Anderson here. Dave Ewart has to come into the pits.
Shoulder making a bit of contact. Oh, contact, even more contact with Dave Ewart as well.
Ooh, again.
Boofy's in the back of this as well, so he might pick up some places if anything goes down.
Davey Wart made a massive mistake going downhill, and now here comes Skinny Fishbone again. He's trying to make something happen. Boothie is just going to muscle his way around the outside of Skinny Fishbone. They made contact 3 times.
Is he tight?
Oh, he did it.
Done it. Brilliant.
Tasani just overtakes Fiend for the 8th and 9th positions. But then Tasani runs wide into the dirt and earns himself another time penalty.
Oh, if you wide again. Long at lap.
Mufasa trying to hold off Schold for the 10th and final points playing position, neck and neck at the line. With Mufasa on the inside, Schold on the outside. Schold briefly puts his car ahead. He's actually going to put his car ahead for good. He had a much better line through there that time. So now Schold goes up into the 10th position. And Boothie is right there under Dave Ewart, and Dave makes a bit of a mistake going uphill. Very nearly careens into the inside wall. Move Boothie up into 12th now.
Skinny Fishbone just a bit eager to get past Davey Wart. Side by side. Contact. Dave.
Oh, and Dave's in the dirt. Meanwhile, up front, Whippy cruising off to another victory. That's what, 3 back-to-back wins, maybe even 4. Oh, and Collie Boy has just retired from the session. He's had a massive accident at the top of the hill on the last lap.
Well, that's a shame.
But everyone's by, so it won't be an issue for the field, because this is the last lap. Dino may be in a position to still pull a second out of this.
Boothie up to 11th, got past me faster. Now I'm just going to try and chase them Schold as the 360
The thing is, Boothie has time penalties, Mufasa does not, so Mufasa will get that position back afterwards. Gusty loses a position to Tasani again, but his time penalties are going to play havoc with the grid ordering.
Yeah. We might be seeing a few penalties as well get removed after the race.
Whippy comes across the line and takes home another victory.
One more lap.
Oh, wait. Oh, there's one more lap. Okay, I was wrong. I thought that was the last lap. I miscalculated. Horribly. That was very bad. Oh, and Ozzy just had another accident back there.
It's just been a long one. Obviously with all early ready ups. We're finally on the last lap, so it's been a long one. It's been a long-waited race. Hopefully next week in Hungary will be a lot calmer.
Boothie, another time penalty. I'm going to call bullcrap on that because I was watching Boothie when he got that supposed time penalty going uphill, and that was definitely not track cut. I'm going to call bullcrap on that. Yeah. That's the game being stupid.
If it gets, you might get 10 seconds removed, like 5 seconds, well, that'll be like 20 seconds. One more penalty on this last lap, it would be the issue either way. So, just Boothie's had a very, very strong race, but it's just the safety cars that happened have really just crumbled it for him. Just made it fall apart. And he would be lucky to even be ahead of Asda, like, at the flag.
Yeah, Boothie and Ozda had very good races going on, and it's all just completely fell apart for them with the restarts. And that's why Whippy has basically walked off with the championship. He has basically made no mistakes whatsoever since, Zandvoort, if not earlier than that. Like, I don't think he's made a single actual mistake on track since that point in the season.
I think this might be his 4th win in a row, I don't know. Next three, we'll see. Well, there he is.
He's come across and will win the race now. Retro, fastest lap.
Dino second.
Yeah, Dino with no penalties, will jump up to second. Pruishmill fourth, Books fifth, Mr. Anderson sixth, Dasani seventh. But Gussie should be able to take that position back. Oh, Scholl jumps all the way up into seventh because he didn't have time penalties. And their field is still shaking up. Mufasa ends up 9th, Gussie ends up 10th, and Dave Ewart will be 11th, Skate Fishbone 12th, Fiend 13th, Bootsy 14th, and Ozda is going to be in the 15th position. With no points at that, I think.
With the one in Singapore, Spain, Austria, and now Belgium, so that's 4 in a row for that man. And also, that's
with no
4
points
races.
again for Ozda, I think this means that he may have, yes, locked up the title. I'm going to try and calculate the math real quickly here. But we're also going to try and get Whippy into the party to hear what he has to say.
Yeah. I think that's also like 4 races well for Asda without a top 5 finish, but there's a few races this season that he can do, but it's very unlikely he can catch up with Whippy just being himself, like just being Whippy and just driving good.
Yeah, right now, with Ozda earning no points and Whippy taking home another win, that should be another 25 points in Whippy's favor, so that would bring him up to 184 points. Ozda is still at 102, so I think Whippy might not have locked up the title officially, but it's come disgustingly close, to say the least. Anyways, in the broadcast booth with us is our race winner, Whippy. Whippy, congratulations on 4 victories in a row. Continuing your dominance in the mid part of the season, what do you have to say?
Not too bad fast. No idea what happened to me. It was just gone after I restarted the race. It was... I overtook him on the undercut, obviously, because he went a lap longer than I did. So I was hoping he'd win, but this made it all a bit more boring, unfortunately.
Yeah, Ozda had an accident coming to the green flag on that second restart that dropped him to the very back of the field, so...
And that is annoying for him, that's for sure. Well, what's that? 4 in a row now.
Yep.
Feels like I've been here before.
Yeah.
Alright, so as it is right now, there is still an outside chance that Ozda could take the championship from you. Do you think, though, you could make it 5 in a row and potentially lock up the title early?
Hungary has always been a good track for me, so it's definitely possible. It's going to be all about getting high qualifying positions there. It's very hard to overtake around the Hungary ring. So I will definitely say I'm not the best one lap pace. It'll be an interesting race next week, that's for sure.
Alright, well, once again, congratulations on your win once more.
Thank you, mate.
And we'll look forward to seeing what you can do next week at Hungary.
It's a pleasure.
Anyways, well, Torpedo, let's be honest, this broadcast went on forever, it seems. It really made up for the short broadcast last week.
Indeed. Yeah, and nothing else. I don't think there's anything else we need to cover.
Yeah, I'm honestly a little bit, exacerbated. You know, yesterday's race was significantly longer, and I felt more energized after that than I do after this race. This is a lot of just standing by and waiting for things to get properly done. So, 2 failed race start attempts, and then although we had a very long period of green flag running, we ran a lot of laps under yellow at the end, and that basically artificially yanked around the entire grid at the end of the race as well. So just all over the place was just completely nutty.
Yep.
Well, for those of you who are still looking for a little bit more action, in about 43 minutes on the main channel, X2 will also be running the race at Spa. Next week at 5 p.m. UK time on the main channel will be the Dev race on Saturday, and then at 8 p.m. UK time will be the XRL race, the realistic race event, and then next week on Sunday at 5 p.m., main channel will be X1, and this channel will be X3, and then at 8 p.m. next week also will be X2. But I've been Insane Layer 13. I've been joined by Whippy. Whippy, it's been very great to have you back in the booth. Hopefully the two of us can
Yeah.
actually be in the booth together for a little bit more going to the end of this season.
Yeah, indeed.
But anyways, time to go ahead and wrap up the broadcast. Thanks everyone for sticking around and watching this race for us, and we'll be looking forward to you guys watching us and watching the drivers on track in a week's time. Until then, farewell. That Ferrari cannot catch a bloody break.